few years ago, I had a chance to go to the eastern part of the U.S. I saw many of the places that were important in the making of our country. The first battles of the Revolutionary War were fought in Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts. When the English started taking away America's rights, the farmers became the Minutemen. This meant at a moment's notice they would drop their hoses and pick up their rifles to help if the British started invading. On April 18th, 1775, the British decided to go to Concord because they had heard that Americans were hiding guns there. They went through Lexington. Some of the leaders of the movement were hiding out there with some important documents or papers, and also they were afraid they would be killed or taken prisoner if they stayed in Boston. This is a picture of the tavern where those men stayed the night of the battle. Here is that same tavern in a drawing done in that time, and the bell tower that rang out when the British arrived. And in the foreground is the Minutemen on one side and the British um, Army at the other, which is a park in the middle of town during colonial days. This is a picture of the village green. This battlefield is no bigger than the soccer field grass and the blacktop at the back of the school. After the British had won the battle in Lexington, they marched on to Concord, for the villagers had arms and ammunition stored there. They had marched up to the bridge that led into the town of Concord. The villagers were waiting for them. There was a battle at the bridge. When the British beat back the farmers, they went to the barn where the town's arms and ammunition was stored. The British tried to burn the guns, but the barn caught fire also. And the people from Concord were watching up on the hills around the town and thought that the British had set fire to the entire town. So they came running back into Concord. As the British left, many of the Minutemen were arriving from other areas. In the 18 miles between Concord and Boston, the Minutemen would hide behind trees or rock fences and shoot at the British, as the Native Americans had shown them. By the time the British arrived at Boston, 250 British men had lost their lives, where only 90 Americans had lost theirs. The greatest power in the world at that time was England, and they had lost to a bunch of farmers fighting for the idea of freedom in America. So when you hear the poem written by Ralph Waldo Emerson about the shot heard around the world, they are talking about Lexington and Concord. By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled. Here once the embattled farmer stood and fired the shot heard round the world.